A secret drawer popped open. I knew that publication date would be significant. At last, I was going to discover Medovsky's secrets. It certainly wasn't Medovsky's sock drawer. Hey, Nico! Come see this! I think we've struck gold.
Hang on, I'm coming.
Look, a letter from a guy called Gainin. His company, Wolfram, want to purchase La Maledizio. They're offering way over the asking price.
Anything connecting Medovsky to Vera?
Well, let's see. Here we go. A lease for Vera's security.
Aha! Then we have the proof we need.
Hang on, what's this? Expenses for a Mr. Shears. Waterloo Motors, one helmet. These are from Paris. Madame La Trex. Hotel Britannique. Pizza. Nico. Pizza. I think your friend Shears might just be Henri's killer.
Georges, what have we got ourselves into? I just heard the front door close. Medovsky's coming. Put everything back in order, quick!
Right. He'll never suspect we just ransacked his house for evidence.
Georges, the coin!
Damn, no time. Look cool, Nico. I'll handle this.
I apologize for the lengthy wait. As you can imagine, my time is at a premium.
That's fine, Mr. Medovsky. I think we're almost finished anyway.
And payment?
Very soon, monsieur. Very soon.
Is there anything else I can assist you with?
Nice collection of medals you have there, Mr. Medovsky.
I earned them serving my country.
Anywhere interesting?
Chechnya. Ever been there?
No, can't say I've had the pleasure. Is that a first edition of War and Peace?
Of course. Printed in 1869. A great year for my country's literature. And Tolstoy is the master.
Is that a picture of you with Colonel Gaddafi?
A deeply wonderful man. He was a great fan of the Impressionists.
Well, he certainly left quite an impression on Libya. So, what brought you into the art business, Mr. Medovsky?
Oh, an eye for great artists, an appreciation of fine culture, and a love of what you Americans call the greenback.
You must be upset at the theft of La Maledizio.
Yes, and disappointed that someone would kill for such a minor piece.
So this Hobbs guy, good friend of yours, is he?
No, we simply have a business arrangement. We've been through this already. Now please, if you're quite finished, I'm a busy man.
Thank you for your time, Monsieur Medovsky. We'll be in touch soon.
Well, no prizes for guessing where we go now.
Hobbs' place, right?
Got it in one. Medovsky's pretty shady, don't you think?
He bought our act, though. You make a pretty good insurance man, Georges.
Yeah, who'd have thought it?
By the time he realizes we're not assessing his claim, we'll have cracked the case and be toasting our success.
Here's hoping. Looks like rain.
Come on, let's get that cab. Taxi!
I think we just stepped off the London tourist trail.
I guess this Hobbs character doesn't like visitors.
Not the kind of place you'd expect to find a restorer of old masters.
Unless you didn't want to attract attention.
He's attracted ours. Let's see what Mr. Hobbs knows about La Maledizio.
And let's try and get a look inside that portfolio.
Piles of junk, mostly boxes of old paints and scraps of picture frames. Mixed in were wires, cardboard, and some dubious-looking old clothes. George Stobart.
Ah, Monsieur Stobart. I trust you have obeyed my instructions not to leave Paris.
Of course, Inspector.
Good. You clearly know which side your cookie is buttered. Now, I require your presence tomorrow at the murder scene for a reconstruction.
I see.
12 o'clock sharp, monsieur. Or, as you would say, high noon.
Sure.
Any failure to comply, and I shall have you extraordinarily rendered. Have a nice day now.
And you. That was Nave. We're required back at the gallery tomorrow for a crime scene reconstruction.
Let me guess. Non-attendance is a criminal offense?
You got it. Vera Security. I didn't need to. Nika would think I was stupid. Mr. Rickenbacker?
You better have some good news, Stobart.
I absolutely do.
Go on then, impress me.
I went to visit Medovsky, the owner of the painting, and Vera Security.
Go on.
I found some paperwork that proves Medovsky stole his own painting.
Great work. But we're gonna need more. You have to find the painting.
Now wasn't the best time to call Rickenbacker. The door was locked. Looking through the window, I could see that there was nothing in the van. Hobbs must have taken the portfolio inside. The hood was definitely stuck. I popped open the van's hood. I decided Slasha. Not a sound. The horn wasn't working. The engine was held together by rust and dirt. Everything was covered in a sticky film of dirty black oil. Half the wiring wasn't connected to anything. It was clear why the horn hadn't made a noise. Neither hornpipe was connected to either the battery or the cab. It was the van battery. I needed to hook this up to the horn somehow. It was the van's engine. It was one of two horns in the van. It didn't seem to be connected to anything else under the hood. Two wires hung loose from it. That was never going to happen. Nope. A loose wire. If I had some spare cable, I could connect it to the other horn. That was... A bundle of wires came into the engine bay from the dashboard. Many of the wires seemed to lead nowhere. That was... A bundle of short, severed... None of the wires were connected to anything. That wouldn't... The large dumpster was full of garbage. It was Hobbs's mailbox. There was a note hanging out. For a second, I debated the morality of mail snooping. It was a short debate, and I won. That would be point. I wouldn't have been able to break the chain, or the padlock. I had found just what I needed. 2 lengths of wire. I don't think there's anyone home.
There's a light on upstairs.
Nico?
What's up?
The lights are on, but nobody's answering.
Maybe they can't hear you knocking. We could try some other way of attracting their attention.
Nico had suggested that we... The engine bay was a mess. There was already a wire connected to that. I connected the wires from the cab to the horn. It was the van battery. A loose wire hung from the... I used the wire to join the battery to the horn. The horn wasn't working. I connected the wires from the cab to the horn. I hope this would... I connected the wire. That wire wasn't long enough to reach between the two horns. The wire was just long enough to connect the battery to the horn. Everything was wired up. The horn had power. I figured that should get Hobbs' attention.
All right, hold your bloomin' horses. What are you up to with my van?
Hello there. We fixed your horn.
So I hear. Now what are you doing in my yard?
Sorry to bother you again, Mr. Hobbs, but... Well, that could have gone better.
He's not exactly the friendliest of characters.
I'd already jerry-rigged the horn. I had no other reason to rummage around under the hood. I decided to give it another blast.
For crying out loud, will you leave my van alone?
Sorry, just need a quick word, Mr. Hobbs. I had no idea what was in the letter. There was no point discussing it with Hobbs. I knew he wouldn't be interested. Mr. Hobbs, let me just show you this.
Get lost.
This Hobbs guy doesn't exactly like visitors.
There must be some angle we can use to talk our way inside.
I decided to give it another blast.
You two again? What is it this time?
Hello there. We'd like to discuss some restoration work with you.
Then make an appointment. I'm busy.
This is crazy. We need to get in there and take a look around.
We need a good cover story.
I decided to give it another blast.
What now?
Mr. Hobbs, let me just show you this.
Get lost.
This is crazy.
We need...
I decided to...
What now?
Mr. Hobbs, do you mind if we ask you a few questions?
Yes.
Yes, you will answer a few questions?
Yes, I do mind. Clear?
Not really.
Good. Now get lost.
This is crazy.
We need a...
I decided to...
What now?
Sorry to bother you again, Mr. Hobbs, but... This is crazy.
We need a...
The large... Climbing drain pipes was... Nico? So, Hobbs doesn't want to see us. It's like Detroit round here, and it's going to be dark soon. Shall we head back?
No! We need to convince Hobbs to let us in.
A pile of... That wouldn't have... That was... Never... In... I decided... I decided to give it an...
What now?
Mr. Hobbs, let me just show you this.
Get lost.
This...
We need...
There was definitely someone else. I'd pounded that door. We were going to have to find another... I wouldn't have been able to... The door was locked. Looking through the window, I could see... The door was locked. Looking... There was nothing else of interest. There was nothing else of interest. The large dump... I'd need the keys to start the engine. I had no reason nor any desire to steal Hobbs's van. If only I'd hung out with the cool kids at school, I'd have learned how to hotwire a truck. I decided to get...
What now?
Sorry to bother you again, Mr. Hobbs, but... This is crazy.
We need...
Now wasn't... I didn't need... That was almost a... That wouldn't work. I'd pounded that... We were going to... Well, it seemed like... No, that didn't... There was nothing else. I decided to get...
What now?
Sorry to bother you again, Mr. Hobbs, but... This is crazy.
We need a...
I'd already... I decided to...
What now?
Sorry to bother you again. This is crazy.
We need...
That would be... Climbing drain pipe. That wouldn't... That... There was nothing... There was nothing else of interest in it. That was... I needed a... The van's hood was already open. I decided to leave... I decided to give...
What now?
Sorry to bother you. This is... I decided to...
What now?
Sorry to bother you again, Miss...
We...
Nico? We really needed...
You're right. He is our only big lead to tracking down the painting.
What do you think of this, Nico?
Not much, George.
Fancy a drop, Nico?
Ah, George, have you ever known me to drink whiskey?
What do you think of this, Nico?
I don't know.
What do you think of this?
Not...
What do you think of this?
I don't know.
Are you sure you don't...
George, I don't want...
You hungry?
Not...
What do you think of...
I don't know.
What do you think of this?
I think...
What do you think?
I think you have an ins...
Why would anybody...
Who knows?
That was all... That wouldn't work. I only had a few matches using... That was all... I decided to give it another...
What now?
Sorry to bother you again, Mr. Hobbs, but... This is crazy.
We need a...
Nope. I wouldn't have been able to break the chain. There was nothing. There was nothing. The large... That wouldn't work. That would be... Nope. That... It didn't. Well, that didn't. It did. They didn't. Never in a... They did. That. I fed Trevor a crumb. The thought of Trevor armed with a paperclip intrigued me, but I had no way to attach it to him. Well, that didn't. They didn't. They... The thought of... But I had no... That... They... That... That was almost... Nope. I needed a better idea. Nope. That was... That would be pointless. I'd need the keys to start the engine. I had no reason. I decided to leave the hand. The van's hood was already... I decided to give it another blast.
What now?
Mr. Hobbs, let me...
Get lost.
This is crazy. We need to get in there and take a look around.
We need a good cover story.
Now... Nika would think I was stupid. There was nothing else. That wouldn't work. The nail clippers would never have cut such a thick chain. I thought about trying to pick the lock with a paper clip, but that really only works in the movies. I needed a better... There was a slight chill in the air. It would have... Nope, I needed to... That wasn't... That would... That was all... Whiskey. Whew, very strong stuff. The completion note. Ah, Brett. The fragrance that dare not speak its name. Lane's nail matches. It was the cookie. I could hear the little. A paperclip. The letter mentioned. It was the old coin. I'd forgotten to. Whiskey. I decided to open the letter. Dear Mr. Hobbs, due to previous incidents, we are writing to inform you that we will no longer be sending models to your address. It went on to discuss Hobbs's temper and other alleged infractions, some of which still carry the death sentence in certain less sophisticated cultures. Interesting. This could come in useful. I decided to give it another blast.
What now?
Afternoon, Mr. Hobbs. We're from the model agency.
About blooming time. I'm on a deadline. You better come up. About time you two showed up.
Hello, Mr. Hobbs. I was just wondering if...
Can it, Goldilocks? I don't have time for chit-chat. Just get undressed behind that screen.
Undressed?
That was the deal. An extra 20 quid because I need you with your kit off.
The studio was freezing.
And as for you, darling, no need to get undressed. I've got a vivid imagination, so I'll just use that. Either way, just go sit over there on that rug and give me your best belly pock floozy. That's perfect. Just hold it there.
Nico made for a good distraction. I just needed to figure out how to get a look inside that portfolio. Excuse me, Mr. Hobbs.
Oh, what do you want? You're supposed to be sprawled naked on that rug with the family jewels out.
Yeah, well, about that. Could I just ask you a couple of questions first?
Blow me. A model who's shy and chatty. It must be my birthday.
I hear you did the restoration of that painting that got stolen recently in Paris?
I might have. It's a fine piece. You can smell the pain in every brushstroke.
Do you know a Russian called Medovsky?
You know Medovsky?
Everyone in the London art scene knows Medovsky.
And everyone in the London art scene who likes their kneecaps knows when to keep their trap shut.
Excuse me.
What now?
But I thought you were a restorer, but you're working on this painting from scratch.
Well, yeah. Look, some clients want a painting that they don't own, restored from scratch, if you know what I mean.
No, I don't.
Don't worry, sunshine. Ignorance is bliss.
Yeah, about this naked, sprawling...
Oh, what's up? Afraid of the shrinking effects of a cold warehouse?
No, it's just...
First time? A little embarrassed? Well, if it helps, we can all get naked.
No, definitely not.
Well then, what are you waiting for? Let the monkey see the nuts.
We had a saying in the Stobart family. If a job's worth doing, then do it with your pants on. I have a letter for you, Mr. Hobbs.
From the model agency. Bane in my life, models. Speaking of which, why have you still got your clothes on?
Tell me more about...
Why all the interest in that picture? We're not at the Slade now, Sonny Jim.
Are you sure you won't talk about Medosky?
Are you deaf? I already told you to drop the subject.
Mr. Hobbs, meet Trevor.
Who's Trevor?
My cockroach. Take a look.
Difficult childhood, eh? Well, don't take it out on me.
How about a top-up, Mr. Hobbs?
Thanks, but I've already got a glassful.
Showing that to Hobbs, Hobbs had loosely sketched a young couple and an elderly lady sitting next to an overturned picnic basket. The three characters were naked. Behind them, two men in suits were chatting. A variety of liquor bottles, all empty.
Hi, what do you think you're doing?
Oh, sorry. I was just going to take a look at some of your pictures. You're very good.
I know, and that portfolio is private. I'm not paying you to gawp around my studio. Get your blooming clothes off!
Sorry.
Oh, you, get down from there. It's private.
Oh, sorry. Wow, an old Bofson Wang stereo. I hadn't seen one of those for years. The record had stopped. It was Jasmine Breeze by the Hairy Lobsters. A record was spinning on the turntable. I turned the volume down. I turned the volume. Hobbs seemed to have a thing for 70s psychedelic jams. Hobbs seemed to have a thing for 70s psychedelic jams. It was locked. I wondered what was behind the door.
Hey, stop meddling with that. The power's ropey enough as it is.
Blowing the power would certainly have distracted Hobbs, but the elevator alone wasn't going to trip the whole system. It was a shaky old elevator that would once have lifted goods between the floors.
Hey, leave that dial alone. The heating gobbles up all the power and the circuits can't take it.
Sorry. I turned the thermostat.
My, if it isn't George Stobart.
Lady Piermont. Oh my. You're...
Naked? Of course. As an artist's muse, one often finds oneself en pelotas. Now, George, don't be shy. Come here and give me a big hug.
That day was the day the nightmares had begun. Trapped, smothered, choking on lavender.
George, darling, pass me my robe. It's terribly cold in here.
Oi, what are you doing with a blooming robe on? God help me, but you're supposed to be naked. I've got a deadline to meet.
Well, you won't be meeting any deadlines with manners like that. And besides, it's freezing in here.
Lady Piermont and I had met before. She was larger than life, in every way. Excuse me, Mr. Hobbs.
What now?
How long have you been using Lady Piermont as a model?
Using her? I can't get rid of her.
So, what's in the folder that you're so touchy about?
Little boys should keep their noses out of other people's business. Understand?
Totally.
I have got my eye on you, pal.
Mr. Hobbs, this whole nudity thing, keep the extra 20 pounds. If it's all right with you, I'd rather not do it.
Look, pal. This painting demands flesh, and that is what I am going to get. Now, one way or another, your rosy cheeks are getting onto this canvas.
This was going nowhere. I had to keep stalling him until I could take a look inside that portfolio. I'll let you get back.
You're too kind.
Lady Piermont.
Oh, George, be a darling and sort the heating out in here.
I'll see what I can do. Wary of any more life-changing surprises, I decided against exploring behind the screen.
Hey! I've told you, don't mess with that thermostat.
Sorry, but Lady Piermont is cold. I thought...
Look, pal, I know it's brass monkeys in here, but the wiring in this building is ancient, and the fuse box won't take it. Her Majesty will just have to get used to chapel hat pegs.
Lady Piermont, Mr. Hobbs won't let me turn up the heating.
Well, we'll soon see about that.
Oh, crumbs.
If you do not adjust the heating, I shall refuse to cooperate.
Lady Piermont, it's the circuits. They won't take the strain. You know what old buildings are like.
In which case, I see no reason for this session to continue.
Whoa, Lady Piermont, let's not be too hasty. I'm sure I can accommodate your needs.
Good. Perhaps you can start by letting George here turn up the heating.
Oh, go ahead then, but be careful. The power in here is temperamental.
I turned the thermostat up as far as it would go. I wondered if the suspicious wiring could be used to my advantage.
Oh, you! Get down from there. You'll trip the power in the whole building if you're not careful.
The elevator on its own wasn't going to blow the power. It was a shaky old elevator. I wasn't going to mess around with that wiring. didn't need to sit. It was time for action. I had no need to walk out onto the balcony. So how are we going to get a peek inside that folder?
Perhaps your lady friend over there could help.
Lady Piermont? Well, she has many, assets, but subtlety isn't one of them.
Who said anything about subtlety? We need to distract Hobbs. And she's certainly distracting. No, excuse me, but you're casting a shadow.
A word, if I may, Lady Piermont.
For you, George, I'm all ears. How can I help?
So what have you been up to since our last encounter, Lady Piermont?
Charity work, dear boy.
Oh, any particular kind?
Young men, George. So many have lost their way. I try to guide them best I can.
What do you think of this, Lady Piermont?
Not much, Georgie. Not much.
How about a shot of this, Lady Piermont?
Oh, no, dear. I don't touch the stuff. Reminds me of husband number 5. Or was it 6? Terrible bore, anyway. I'm strictly a gin girl. Ice and a slice and a whiff of tonic.
What do you think of this, Lady Piermont?
Not much, Georgie. Not much.
Would you like a sniff of this?
I'd rather not. Gives me 70s flashbacks.
Could I tempt you with a cookie, Lady Piermont?
You could tempt me with many things, George, but a half-eaten rich tea is not one of them.
What do you think of this, Lady Piermont?
Not much, Georgie.
Can you keep a secret, Lady Piermont?
I am the very soul of discretion, as you know.
You see that portfolio by Hobbs's table? We need to take a peek inside.
Be still, my beating heart. Just give me the nod and I'm putty in your hands.
Do you know anything about a stolen painting called La Malediction?
Oh, is this another of your adventures, George? How delicious. Shh. My heart's a tremor, George. Do you think Wilf is mixed up with this?
Maybe, but I need you to act normally until we're sure.
Mum's the word, Georgie.
How did you come to be working with Mr. Hobbs?
Wheresoever a bohemian needs a helping hand, George, mine is always at the ready. And what better way to help than to expose one's flesh to the sensuous brushstrokes of such a talent?
That's all for now. Excuse me, Mr. Hobbs.
What now?
So, are you and Lady Piermont, an item?
Not so loud, mate. You'll give her ideas.
The painting is looking good.
It would look even better if you took your kit off and got into position.
I'm really curious.
And I'm really curious about you. You're a very curious model all round, you are.
Are you sure you won't talk about Medovsky?
Are you deaf? I already told you to drop the...
Tell me more about La Malédiction.
Why all the interest in that picture? I told you, keep your hands off that portfolio.
I'm sorry. I didn't need to... It was locked.
Oh, you! Get down from...
The elevator on its own. What? I'd better not... The record had stopped. Hobbs seemed to have a... I turned the volume. Wary of any more.
For God's sake, the door's open!
Climbing drain pipe. I wasn't gonna mess with...
Hey, that's my whiskey ration for the day.
How about a top-up, mister?
Don't mind if I do. Hey, I'm still drinking.
Putting anything other than good whiskey in a man's glass. Putting anything... It didn't seem... A word if I...
For you, George.
Lady Piermont, we need your help.
How thrilling! What do you need? Subterfuge? Leisure domain?
Actually, I just need you to step onto that lift behind you.
Oh, but of course. Is this good, George, darling?
Perfect. Now, just stay right there.
Oh, not again.
I was too late to catch a look at the portfolio. Now was my chance. It was one of more of Hobbs' sketches. The model looked familiar. Impressionist sketches. Well, it wasn't La Malediccio, but it did appear to be a study for an element of the painting, the Ouroboros. There was something different about the image in the center. I figured the sketch might...
What the heck are you doing with those? They're private papers.
Huh?
Well, that was fun. Just like when you were a private dick, George.
So, you're not models?
No, Mr. Hobbs.
Well, you can't be a copper. You're not stupid enough. So what the blazes are you doing in my studio?
We're investigating the theft of La Malediccio.
I told you I just restored it. That's what I do. Restore paintings.
And these sketches?
Studies done during the restoration. Nothing more. I've got naught to do with what happened after that painting left this studio. How was I to know it was going to get Henri killed?
Hang on a second. How do you know Henri's dead?
Look, he and I went back a long way. Le Lézard Bleu was on the ropes, so I got the painting into his exhibition. Nothing like this was supposed to happen.
We're not accusing you of anything, Mr. Hobbs. We just want to get to the bottom of this.
I get that, and I'll help you however I can, but this mess is way above my pay grade.
How come you needed to make so many sketches of the painting to restore it?
Restoration's not about throwing a load of paint around. It takes research. The Serp is a complicated painting. A lot of subtext, a lot of symbols.
Why would anyone want to steal La Malediccio? It's not exactly a famous painting.
True, but there is something special about it that's hard to describe. There's conviction in every brushstroke. Whoever El Serp was, he had a tale to tell. The symbolism is deeply religious.
We have reason to believe that Medovsky is mixed up in the theft of La Malediccio.
Eh? What would he gain from stealing his own painting?
We have strong evidence that Medovsky is not the real owner.
You'll have a hard time proving that. Medovsky has a full set of provenances for the painting. It traces its legitimate ownership all the way back to the painter.
Why didn't Medovsky mention him?
Because they're not with him. Henri's got them. Or had them.
And Henri is dead.
So ask his partner.
Lane?
Lane, yeah, Lane. Look, pal, you're wasting your time looking for conspiracies here. And you're wasting my time if you're not actually going to get naked. Go get the provenance from Lane, and everything will turn out hunky-dory.
But it also puts Marquez's story into question.
Not my problem, darling. Now both of you, get lost. I've got a painting to finish.
And we have a critic to interrogate.
Someone's lying, but who?
Is it the gangster or the old Spaniard?
The painter or the art critic?
I need to head back for Nave's reconstruction.
What about the evidence from Medovsky's house? Will you give it to Nave?
I think I should. And I can put the squeeze on Lane. Ask him about the provenance.
Good. I've got lunch with Ronnie tomorrow. This story is hotting up, and I want to make sure he keeps me on it.
Taxi? Parisian spring.
Yes?
Bijou? This is George Stobart from the insurance company.
Does you in?
Fortunately, Lane wasn't there. I wondered if Bijou could tell me anything new.
George, good to see you. Hello again, George. You neglected me yesterday, you naughty boy.
I was in London.
Oh, how exciting. I love London. Tell me all about it.
Maybe another time. I have some questions I need to ask you first. I'm sure his killer will be found.
It's a cruel world that takes my Henri away from me.
I'm guessing you've had a few drinks since hearing the news.
Oh, just a little dry sherry to calm the nerves, to make the nightmare go away.
You said you didn't recall who painted that picture.
You know how it is. So many artists.
Wasn't it Wilfred Hobbs who painted this one?
Might have been. I don't recall him. Do you mind if we talk about something else?
Do you know the owner of La Malediccio, a Mr. Medovsky?
I had nothing to do with all that, I told you.
What's that song again?
Jasmine by the Hairy Lobsters.
Did you say you had nothing to do with the gallery?
I did, darling. I don't do paperwork. I model for the artists. I don't sell their paintings.
Is there anything else you can tell me about the painting?
Not really. I was young and beautiful.
So, the painting.
I'd rather not talk about it anymore.
She probably wouldn't care. I didn't think she'd be... I figured Bijou had... Bye for now.
Bye. Please don't touch me. Please don't touch my thing.
Views like that one. The stereo was playing the same tune over and over again. A subtle birthmark. Little Fifi stood guard over Henri. Henri looked very much at peace. The Bois de Boulogne. It was good to be back in Rue Jarry.
Ah, a customer. Oh, it's you.
Fleur?
Come in, come in.
Last time I met Fleur, she was selling flowers from a street stall. Things had clearly gone very well for her since then. Hi, Fleur.
Georges, welcome. The young lady you're looking for is not at home.
How did you...
No, I have the gift.
Did Nico tell you I might be stopping by?
No, but I was expecting you nonetheless.
Fleur was the best and probably the only psychic florist in Paris. So, Fleur, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you, Georges. Though truth be told, my hip has been playing up again. And I have a funny feeling about the number 12.
But apart from that, nothing new?
No, that is all.
Can you read my palm?
Georges, please. That is ridiculous. Give me a lock of your hair and a toenail clipping. Then we can talk.
I'll pass, thanks.
Suit yourself.
So, the young woman I'm looking for.
Nico lives next door.
Yeah, she's not in?
No, I believe she has gone out.
Did the tea leaves tell you that?
No, I saw her leaving a while ago.
Can you tell me anything about this eau de toilette?
It's cheap, smells bad, and belongs to a man.
Gee, thanks. She wouldn't want to see it. Are you getting any vibes from this note?
No.
What can you tell me about these matches?
With these, you can create fire.
I have this matchbox. Anything peculiar about it?
It has a cockroach inside.
Yeah. He's called Trevor.
He prefers the name Boris, you know.
Well, I think you'll find that's his patronymic. What can you tell me about this paperclip?
It's going to become redundant in a digital world.
Do these sketches mean anything to you?
Take them away, Georges. They have the taint of death on them.
Are you serious?
I mean it. Take them away.
Anything you can tell me about this whiskey bottle?
Not a spirit world I'm familiar with, Georges.
Can you tell me anything about this coin?
I could, but then you'd know as much as me.
And?
I can't give away all my secrets, Josh.
Does this shredded letter mean anything to you?
I'm getting the word recycling.
Is this rich tea cookie anything special?
It's seen better days.
Bye-bye.
Stay true to your heart, Josh.
Fleur's classics were blaring out into the street. I decided against wandering into the back of Fleur's shop. It would have been a little rude. There were boxes stacked along the wall. They were all labeled. It was a small trolley. The door was locked. I remembered Nico said she was having lunch with Ronnie. I arrived back at the shopping arcade. Hey, Bassam, how's business?
Good to see you, George. Gotta say, the new branding's hitting the demographic right between the eyes.
Sold anything?
This is a soft market, George. Look to the margins. Look to the margins.
Any other bargains?
Got a batch of phone covers.
Let me guess. Rhinestones?
Got it in one.
Bassam wouldn't want to see. He probably would. Do you like whiskey? I'm afraid it's a cheap brand.
No.
I've got a paperclip.
Very useful, I'm sure.
Bassam, I've still got the cock.
Don't let it loose around here.
I have half.
Sorry, George. With margins like this, I can't do returns.
I've got some.
Always good to have.
I didn't think. He struck me as more of an after. Thank you. I had a closer look at.
Check it out, George. I've had quite a stock update, and I've got to say the metrics on some of this stuff is startling.
Bobbins and threads. The stock range on the stall was impressive. They looked interesting. A stack of those cards that play music when you open them. Bobbins and threads. The stock range. Bassam's lunch made my stomach growl. There was a stack of books, but all in Greek from the looks of it. What are those things?
Oil pots, all empty.
Rearranging the sign, even if I... What are those?
I'll...
Musical.
George!
That's an
I got them cheap. An entire collection of Swedish #2 hits from the 70s. All in perfect working order. Nostalgia's big, George, and it can only get bigger.
Any ABBA in there?
Afraid not. But do you like the Cockney Riot or Charles Charles?
Nah, never heard of him.
Hairy Lobsters?
Yeah, actually, I have.
Ah, I thought they'd be before your time.
Any other bargains?
Not since...
Thank you. Musical cards.
George!
Any other bargain?
Not since...
Bassam. Thank you. The Vera shutters were down again. The aircon had been closed back up.